Tell it like it is.
Tim Brando, ladies and gentlemen.
It's not that the league is no longer really, really good. It still is. And it's got the most championships. And year in and year out, Southeastern Conference football will be the dominant conference, but it's not dominant now. Okay, it's not.
This is the Press Box.
Our buddy Timmy B, Tim Brando, talking about SEC football. Of course, we know SEC Football Media Days 2025 going on this week at the Collins Football Hall of Fame, downtown Atlanta, Georgia. The Press Box all over it, courtesy of our own Colin Lacy and Brent Osborne, with Bart Hyche and Mike Grace hanging out as well. Later in the hour, Craig Way, voice of the Texas Longhorns, will join us, about to kick off season number 25 as voice of the Longhorns. We'll hear from him in a matter of moments. But guys, what about the statement from Timmy B? Does that change this year? Or does the Big Ten win a third straight national championship? What do you think?
I don't see how they do. I think SEC is just getting better and better every year, which sounds crazy because it's been the dominant conference for what? We go in a decade? We hit a decade yet? But I mean, it's crazy. It keeps getting better every year. It keeps getting deeper every year. Because I mean, we're talking to teams that I was going through my preseason vote and everything yesterday, and I've got teams in the 10th, 11th, 12th spot in my rankings that are really dang good teams. And so, I mean, it's crazy to say, but I think the SEC keeps getting better each and every year by leaps and bounds. It's not marginal. And then you're able to do a lot more, and I think it's going to turn into where it's just the SEC. And the Big Ten is so top-heavy, it's unbelievable. And so while the
He's
top of the
on my Gophers.
Yeah, I'm out on all that.
And Illinois.
I can get on board a lot more with Illinois than I can Minnesota. But the Big Ten is so top-heavy that I just think the SEC is getting to be where nobody's competing.
And it's an odds thing, right? What are the odds? I mean, you're talking about if there's 10 teams that might win the national championship preseason, how many of those teams are you going to put SEC in there? 5?
Yeah.
LSU, Georgia, Texas. Those 3 would be my. I mean, who else would you put in there though?
I mean,
seriously. K8M, Oklahoma, Aubs. No.
This is what I find interesting in looking at our buddy Phil Steele's projections and preseason top 25. I go back to the SEC winning 3 straight from 19, 20 to 21 with 3 different teams. LSU, Alabama, and Georgia went back to back to bring the championship back to the SEC again in 2019, 2020, 2021. We know Georgia went back-to-back, won it in 22, but the last 2 years, Michigan in 23, Ohio State in 24. And if we follow Phil Steele, he's got Penn State as his number 1 team. Could the Big Ten go 3 for 3 with 3 different teams?
I just don't see more than, I don't know, man. I think, Tim, yeah. I mean, it's. All right. You're taking the SEC, Brent, right, over the Big Ten?
I mean, I'd say yes, but just because, I mean, the issue that you run into, and it's the issue that we kind of were running into last year as just an SEC fan in general, is the problem is there's so many good teams in the SEC and they're just beating up on each other. And that's the problem, is that, what's nice about the Big Ten is because they're so top heavy, those teams are beating all of the lower level teams that they should be beating and that kind of stuff. And they're not really beating up or getting a loss or getting a blemish on their record. Whereas SEC teams, I mean, you're playing any of those top teams, LSU, Texas, Georgia, even Alabama, any of those, they're playing each other week in and week out. And so, I mean, one of them's got to lose. And so that's the kind of frustrating part is it's like they're beating up on each other.
Cannibalization, of yourself.
But I do see, I mean, I think, like Colin's point earlier, is I think that especially going into this year, I think the SEC is probably stronger than they have been, just as far as a bunch of really good teams. I mean, think about it. South Carolina, the last couple of years, has not been like a dominant SEC team. And I don't know that they're dominant just yet, but they are one that they're right there on the cusp. I mean, last year they were they were in talks of they should have made the playoff. And so again, and they're not, I wouldn't consider South Carolina as of right now a top SEC team, but they have the potential to be, and they're one of those breakout teams that you don't know what you're going to get from them.
To me, the relationship between the Big Ten and the SEC is kind of surmised in Indiana and Ole Miss. We've talked a lot. You have talked a lot, Bart, about how
I
the
love
schedule.
that you just put those two football programs in the same sentence.
I know, and you're going to love this even
Flip
more.
that, Mike.
Yeah.
But you put Ole Miss's schedule, we talked about, is a light SEC schedule. But you look at it, the light parts of the Ole Miss schedule are the Missouris, the Kentucky. Well, I guess not Kentucky, but it's teams that are. It's not the Indiana schedule. Everybody talked. The knock on Indiana last year was that they didn't play anybody. It's the same argument for both teams, but the level of a light schedule versus a light schedule is so vastly different. It's unbelievable.
So I'm going to ask this question to Brent's point, and this is one of the differences in playing college basketball and college football, or fans how they view those two sports. Brent's point is exactly right that if you go through a football season and you play the LSUs, the Texas, the A&Ms, the Oklahomas, with a physical defense, whoever it is, you're going to come out of those games beat up. You're going to come and it's going to test you. It's going to test you. But the way it's set up, you might not be able to withstand all that when you reach your peak at 9-3. If you've lost the wrong games at the end of the season, you could be physically just scarred and worn. In basketball, just like Florida and Auburn going through the gauntlet and getting to the Final Four, win the national championship. In basketball, I think those battles help you a lot more, and it doesn't hurt you as much as football. Is that a fair point?
Yeah, I absolutely think so. Because I mean,
physicality to me.
And it's only, and I mean, no matter what sport you're playing, the better competition you're playing, it's making you a better team. There's no doubt about that. But like you said, it is kind of beating you up as well. And I mean, you got to think about it. And I mean, obviously Georgia in particular, they had that crazy SEC championship game against Texas that went into overtime, was just a dang knockout, drag out. And then they had to turn around and play Notre Dame in a playoff game, who again, I know they played a game before and all that kind of stuff, but I mean, that was no easy game either. I mean, that was a lot of back and forth and just smash mouth football, and I mean, it's just very, very physical football. But when you get to the playoffs, that's how it's going to be no matter what.
64 or 68, however many spots there are in basketball now. 14 of those were for the SEC, right? There's only 4 spots in football, man. And that's why this is just so – the numbers are smaller, and it's going to be interesting to see. It goes back to the point. Is there an SEC team that's going to be good enough to separate themselves from not only anybody in the country but from this league? I think there'll be one team that goes undefeated. I'm going LSU, but I feel like one team somehow.
I find this interesting.
I think LSU is that team. I don't think they can go undefeated, not with the schedule they have.
Yeah.
And that's an extremely valid point because it's brutal.
Phil Steele's 2025 power poll. Let's take his top 12. There are 3 Big 12 teams there. He's got Big 10 teams, pardon me. Penn State at 1, Ohio State at 5, Michigan at 12. He's got Notre Dame number 2. And then everybody else in the top 12 is SEC. Texas at 3, Bama at 4. I take that back. ACC's Clemson at 6, but Georgia at 7, Oklahoma 8, Texas A&M 9, Florida 10, LSU 11. Would that be? Could we have some fun working those 12 into a playoff bracket?
Jeez. Well, and you also got to think too, looking at LSU's schedule, don't get me wrong, I think that, like we've heard all week and the last couple of weeks, this is the best thing that they've had for them. But their schedule, they don't have a Texas or a Georgia on their schedule. So I do think that they kind of lucked out with that.
Great point. Back with more from SEC Football Media Days inside the press box after this.